PTG Nation, thank you so much for tuning into the show. It is World Cup time, and this episode of the PTG show is brought to you by HK Army. The biggest paintball event in the history of the sport is just around the corner, and HK Army has the paint deal you cannot miss with $20 cases of paint for the whole squad. Yup, you heard me right. HK Army is back at it again, providing that top-tier pink shell, yellow fill paint for only $20 a case to ensure you dominate your competition at World Cup. Do not sleep on this opportunity because once it is gone, and it's going to sell out. Head on over to hkarmy.com/NXLpaint right now and reserve your paint today. Once again, that is hkarmy.com/NXLpaint to secure $20 cases of paint for World Cup from HK Army. This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. This episode of the PTG show is brought to you by Andrew Lopez Law Professional Corporation, a California injury lawyer, and they are on a mission to get justice for their injury victims. Andrew Lopez Law provides comprehensive services from car accidents to slip and falls and handle a wide range of personal injury cases with expertise. Their recent victories include a $2.6 million jury verdict, a $560,000 settlement against a rideshare company, and with their expert legal representation, you can trust that a dedicated personal injury trial lawyer with years of experience will be fighting for your rights. Andrew Lopez Law is a family-run law firm with free consultations, personalized attention, compassionate support to guide you through every step, a proven track record. They're available 24/7, will work tirelessly to maximize your compensation you deserve, and they work with a no-win, no-fee policy, so you don't pay unless they win your case, which ensures you receive justice without the financial risk. If you're in need of an injury lawyer, then look no further and call Andrew Lopez Law PC at 213-474-1100 for your free consultation. And once again, that number is 213-474-1100. And also follow Andrew Lopez Law on Instagram at Andrew Lopez Law PC. And once again, their Instagram handle is Andrew Lopez Law PC. One last time, that number is 213-474-1100 for Andrew Lopez Law to fight for your injuries.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. This episode, goodness, I feel like I've been saying this on the last 500 episodes. This is one of the best ones we've had by far. So much wisdom dropped by Riley Hawk, professional skateboarder and extreme sports lover. Also loves the game of paintball, watches professional paintball, goes out and competes, has played tournaments. Riley is the man. If you guys don't know who Riley Hawk is, do your research. He is an absolute legend, and again, the amount of wisdom that was shared from him in this episode is relatable to anyone and everyone. So, without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Welcome all to another episode of Play the Game podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have the tremendous honor of having the one and only Riley Hawk, pro skateboarder and all-around legend, extreme sports fanatic, and stoked to have you on the show. How you doing, Ry?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Excellent, man. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and have a chat. It's amazing that you're interested in paintball, that you have fun playing the game that we both love. And obviously you have a very storied career outside of paintball, but yeah, excited to talk to you.
Yeah, man, it's definitely something I always kind of grew up wishing I could do more, but you know how it goes. It's one of
Yeah.
those things, almost like a motocross, like somewhere the parents got to be as committed as the kid, otherwise it's
Hmm.
not gonna
Yeah.
pan out for you. But I grew up
Yeah.
super close to Camp Pendleton, so I always was like birthday parties was the go-to at Camp Pendleton to go paintball. So that was kind of how I got into it as a kid.
Nice. Yeah, Pendleton's the spot. I miss going out there.
Yeah,
When I played for Dynasty, we were out there every single weekend. It was kind of crazy because you had to go through like the military checkpoint, to get
yeah,
into the paintball field. So you would
for
have to fill
sure.
out official paperwork and all that kind of stuff to get in there.
Yeah, and I remember back then too, is I don't know, just it was so different without like the internet much and Instagram. You can
Yeah.
sometimes you would just like I remember we'd go and they're just like, yeah, it's closed. Like you get all the way there and it's just like not open. Like it was so much
Yeah,
harder to like know what was going
Yeah.
on at that point.
for sure.
Yeah,
So,
that happened quite a bit. We would have like scheduled team practices. You show up and they're like, "Yeah,
Yep.
nobody could come on the base today. There was some sort of threat." I'm like, "Ah, well, I
mhm.
guess we're going to the movies or something."
Yeah, exactly.
Even
Yeah.
teams would come from like a distance. I know that Red Legion even made their way out there, and like there was times where it was super complicated getting on the
Yeah.
base, but it was just what we had to do at the time. That was the best field, for the competition in SoCal, and hopefully we'll see, something pop back up in that area. I know that since Camp Pendleton closed, it's been like, pretty devastating to SoCal paintball in that area.
For sure. Yeah, I mean it was cool because I feel like it's SoCal in general, anywhere you go, like the skate park, the motocross track, whatever the paintball field, you just see the best of the best. Like you
Yeah.
go to Pendleton, you're a kid, and you just see all those teams like practicing. You're like, whoa, that's cool. You don't really realize how
Mm.
rare that is to just like see the top of the cream of the crop wherever you're at, whatever sport you're doing. It's so normal in California.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're so right, and that's actually what spawned, Tyler and my career is the fact that we were going to local parks. Actually, I grew up going to Velocity Paintball in Ramona. Have you ever been out to that one, Riley?
I haven't, but I know of
No.
it. I haven't been
Yeah,
there though.
like that used to be. They only have one airball field, but when I started playing, it was all hyperball. So the pro players, they had woods ball fields out there. They had like a concept spools
Hmm.
field. They had hyperball, and all the pro players and teams would be there. So I would show up, with my dad just on a weekend, and you see five of the best pros in the world there. So it became
Yeah,
it was really easy for us to like envision that dream and say that's what I want to do. They're so
for
close, they're so
sure.
attainable. Whereas
And
like
your
there's so
name's
many.
already in the pot.
Totally, exactly. Like as
Mhm.
if you're there every single weekend, they kind of take notice and like, hey, there's this young kid. He's putting in the work. He's dedicated. He's got a lot of great skills. We can work with this. This is someone that we want, as the future of an organization. And that happened with Tyler up in NorCal. It happened, with me down in SoCal. But that's how Southern California was. SC Village, Velocity Paintball. Like SoCal
Mhm.
was the mecca. You had all the
I
best
remember
things.
I skated these skate contests called Castle, and they would do 'em all over like Southern California mainly, but they had one. It was I think at Hollywood Sports Park, and they had the
Yeah.
Yeah.
fields there. And I remember when I'd go for the contest when I wasn't like skating, I would just go over and watch the paintball. And I was like, man, I want to go paintball. It just looks so fun. But when you're a kid, the
Mm.
speedball stuff's pretty intimidating. You're like, I don't
For
know.
sure, dude.
I always was
For
like, I
sure.
always had respect for the kids that were down to just go like get wrecked on the speedball field.
It's
Yeah.
funny, and actually, I'm curious if it was like this with skating. I did a tiny bit of skating when I was younger. My cousin had a small half pipe in his backyard. I was able to drop in on that. Stopped skating for probably 8 years, and then I remember going to a local skate park in Poway, and I tried to drop in on a half pipe and just face planted into the other side. That was the last time that was the last time I've been on a skateboard. I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. It's a little too dangerous for me. But when you're a kid, you kind of don't understand why you should be afraid of these things. I think in paintball that happens too. You don't really understand how bad it could hurt if you're like super aggressive until that one time you get bunkered really bad, or maybe in skateboarding that one time you just get totally wrecked and you're like, whoa, and you have this realization. And I see a lot of kids, they then become very hesitant. So I'll see them, 12, 13 years old. They're hyper aggressive. They're really new. They're really, great fundamentally. And then they get shot pretty bad one time. And it takes them a little bit of time to get over that. Is it kind of similar in skateboarding? I
For
imagine
sure,
it
yeah.
is.
I mean, physically too, when you're a kid, you just bounce back so fast. It's like
True.
you take a slam and 2 weeks later you're just fine. Nowadays, like I walk off a curb wrong and I'm limping for weeks. I'm like, dude, what the hell? I remember just having a
Yeah.
string of injuries that just definitely like reality checked me in my early 20s. But I think for sure you get older and you realize there is like consequences to these slams or whatever it is that's going to happen. So that I think that's where that mental aspect starts kicking in, and that's where certain people kind of can't break through that barrier. You see it all the time where they're just so good, but they just have this mental block because fear of injury or fear of pain or just fear of like failing, whatever it is. There's something that you have to like, I don't know, kind of blend those two worlds together and figure out what works for you. But then you see the other side where there's, you know, no fear and just all go, and those people I feel like burn out kind of quick because they just get injured. Like the skill level isn't quite matched up to the intensity or to the willingness to just go for it, and sometimes that can be a bad recipe too.
Yeah, you gotta, like, if you're afraid of something and you want to get better at it, you got to move towards that fear and kind of push through it.
Totally.
You know, there is a balance to it, of course, because especially in skateboarding, because if you try to push into that fear too heavy, you could extremely wreck yourself. But in paintball, you know, it is actually a safer sport. I know it gets a stigma of, you know, being dangerous because you get shot up and welted, but if you have your mask on and you have your gear on, it is you're going to get bruised, but relatively safe. Skateboarding, on the other hand, you will devastate yourself if you go too big in some of those moves. And I actually grew up skating. I had a half pipe in my front yard that me and my dad built, and it was like 6 foot by 20 foot, pretty good sized one. And I wanted to go pro at skating before I found paintball. And I skated from like 7 to 10. And then when I was like around 11, I found paintball, and I was head over heels all in on paintball. But it's that extreme sports, like I said in the beginning of the show, extreme sports fanaticism, you know, like we're just wired to go hard and go heavy. I know I've played all sports. So what do you think is something that like draws you to paintball? And what makes paintball so special as opposed to like some other extreme sports?
It's just so fun. Like, it's just at the end of the day, like getting your homies together and going out, and, you know, we were kind of had some friends that were all like thinking about getting guns and stuff again. And we all did it, and we just would go out, and like, we never really got to do that full team speedball experience as kids, just because it was more, like I said, birthdays at Pendleton, maybe like they let you do the one like group birthday round on the speedball field. We all have, you know, like spiders and whatever, like not just running around, don't know what's going on. It's like 20 versus 20, but we just got the guns, and we were just trying to find something to do as like a crew. The crew kind of like fell apart. That was not like necessarily the skate crew, it was just like the homies through the year. We didn't have time to like get together, you know, we had golf and stuff, but we just wanted something a little more like
extreme
for our adrenaline junkie needs. But we just got the guns, and then we just got super hooked again. We were going, you know, like every other weekend, maybe every weekend if we had the time, but super fun. And we ended up doing a couple tournaments that were just at I think it was at ASG. At ASG.
Oh, nice. So you guys got together and played events.
Yeah, we did a couple.
We
won, you know, we won a couple points, and I think we got like, what was it? Maybe like 11th out of 18th at one.
Okay.
And we had only been playing maybe for like 3 months, so we were just way in over our heads, but we just wanted to just go for it. And it was super fun, but we definitely we realized it was, you know, you got to dedicate more time to like actual strategy and actual team efforts, because we're just like, you know, skate whatever dudes, like there's no team in skating, so you're just like everyone's out. Once the bell rings, you're just out there like you're doing what you think you want to do. But it was super fun. We had a good time, and we like got to play a bunch of paintball, which was cool. And now things have slowed down a little for me. I just had my son about a month ago, so
congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Paintball kind of has dropped to a little bit lower of the priority list right now, but we definitely
understandable.
It's one of those things I feel like is always there as like that fun hobby to go back to when you and your buds need like, you know, that weekend whatever, like little thing to go do. So for us, that's kind of what it is, just because we don't have, you know, the time or the energy to go do it all the time, but it's because I just want to do everything. So I want to like, I got to prioritize what I want to do.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Congrats. to you and the family on the birth of your
No, I
son,
appreciate
Ronan. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure at one point he'll want to buy a paintball gun or see the paintball guns in the garage and want to go do it, which would be funny.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
There
looking
you go.
forward to. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, your kids are just about there, Ty.
I know.
Yeah, Riley, you got to get them started with some Splat Masters. You know what those are? The
For
little
sure,
gel
yeah.
blaster. You could do the
Yeah,
gel
those
blaster
things
stuff.
are rad.
They're super rad. They're not very accurate, but it's like a good introduction to kind of the, you know, we all played kind of like cops and robbers and stuff like that growing
For
up.
sure.
You know, I had airsoft
Oh
guns
yeah,
in the
I
backyard.
mean,
Like
we
that
were
was
like
always
friggin' throwing rocks at each other back then. It didn't
Yeah.
matter. Like just build bunkers and throw stuff at each other.
Exactly. So yeah, a little safer version of that. Yeah, the Splat Masters
Yeah, exactly.
are epic, and a lot of the fields now. So shout out to ASG. That's actually our local field that we play at now.
Yep.
They do a phenomenal job. You know, they've got like 4 massive tournament fields, and then they have tons of scenario stuff too. But all these fields have like a cool little area to go and play gel blaster. So you could bring kids like 4, 5, 6 years old. And it's just such a better introduction than throwing them out there on the actual
for
field
sure.
with these paintballs.
Well, I mean, that's how
going 20
you
miles an
just
hour.
instantly are over it. If you're a kid, you get out there and just get fucking nailed right in the head. You're like, I'm over this.
Yeah,
for sure.
Good.
That's why
when we did I was gonna say when we did the tournament, so I was just tripping on like the scene was just thriving out there. I was like, holy shit. I felt like it felt so cool. It felt like going back to like a kid going to the skate contest, and like it felt like such a time warp for me. Just like, whoa, this is fucking rad. Like there were so many people. I couldn't believe it.
The energies are booming.
Do you know which league it was? Was it the WCPPL or was it one of the ASG?
The
like
WCPPL.
Local? It was. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the biggest and best regional leagues in the country, right? In the world.
Yeah,
probably.
It was like I think they do 4 or 5 of them, right? 4 or 5 stops of it. Yeah, I think we did the one in winter. Maybe it was in December, maybe, and it was
okay.
I remember our first point was at like 7:10, and I couldn't even feel my fucking hands. I was like, dude, I'm so cold right now. But
oh, dude, it gets cold up there. Yeah, paintball when it's really cold is not the most fun.
And we didn't have like a coach or anything, so like you learn a lot of stuff quick. You're like, oh shit, gotta go, check the gun, gotta do all this and that. Next thing you know, your points in 2 minutes and the team's still scattered. You're like, holy shit, we gotta get this together right now. But we were playing at Jungle Island a lot. That's where we would go, just because it was close and mellow. And it was funny because the owner would watch us play, and he's just like, you could tell he's like, man, you guys are super athletic. You guys are move really well. But he's like, we got to get you guys talking to each other, figure something out there.
Yeah, that's the big thing right there.
Yeah, he like saw he's like saw like that we had something, but he just was like, you guys just need a little more time out there. It was funny.
Where are you tuned in from right now, Rye?
I'm at my house in Oceanside.
So,
hey, there we go.
Beautiful.
San Diego native right here.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're actually both going to be in Southern California. March is actually, he's from San Diego. I'm coming out from the desert to go to the WCPPL this weekend. So I know you're busy, but Friday or Saturday, we will be at the event, and it's going to be at Hollywood Sports Park. So you're more than welcome to come out.
SC Village.
Oh, sorry. SC Village.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, I hope. I just booked the hotels. It is at SC Village, right?
I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah. SC Village. Sorry about that.
Where is SC Village?
Corona.
Oh, Corona. Okay.
Yeah. It's
Are you guys coaching or just kind of just hanging out?
We're setting up a booth. Yeah, we do a PTG booth. So we'll do like live episodes from there. Sell some merch, hang out at, with the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to coach all last season. I coached a team in WCPPL. The last probably 6-7 years I've coached, and then Tyler as well a little bit. But this year we decided to really focus on PTG and kind of build the brand a little bit. So we'll be out there doing that, just hanging. Yeah, if you get any free time between juggling the baby and all the other stuff you got going on,
Yeah, man. I'll try to. I was gonna say I was tripping too on just like how high level the entry level of tournament paintball is. Like the D5 bracket, I was like, holy hell, this looks like I mean, I'm sure it's evolved now to where that's how everything is, like skate, whatever, like the entry level for like amateur now is insane. But I was just blown away by how elite like some of the D5 teams looked out there. I was like, what the hell? I thought this was like where we start.
They're working.
Yeah. There's just so much there's so much information for everything, whatever it is you want to do. Like during COVID, I decided, I want to try golf, right? And there's just I could go online and learn anything I want, from tons of top individuals in the sport, you know? And so if you want to get good at something, you can. It requires a lot of effort and dedication. So you're not going to snap your fingers and it's going to happen overnight, but the information's out there, where 15 years ago, it wasn't. You had to like hire somebody to come and actually train you and work with you, or you had to know somebody. For sure. You know, or it was just trial and error. Like get out there and you know, fail a bunch of times and try to figure that out. But now it's, no matter what it is you want to do, you can, if you really apply yourself, the information's there. It's really on you.
so much to consume and off the internet now. It's crazy.
It is. And the motto is still fail and get better. Like you're not going to learn just by watching YouTube or, you know, listening to a podcast. You do have to get out there and fail and fail and fail until you get it, which is the hard part that a lot of people will get weeded out through. So there still is, you know, pretty long road ahead of you, no matter what you're going to do. But you're right. The information is crazy right now, and the teams are working really, really hard. So when you played your tournament, what were some of the biggest hurdles that you found that you needed to become better at, like playing at the tournaments or at the events?
I think it was just getting a better like game plan. We just were just going out like we were having fun on a Saturday over at Jungle Island, just playing with the homies, and the other team was not on that vibe. they were there to win. But it was just more just like, you kind of have to shake that first one off too, like get those jitters out the first time, because you just have no idea what it's going to be like. But I think we could have done a little more decently if we just maybe had a game plan, like I said, and maybe a little more communication out there. But that's just that's the whole downfall of that game, it seems. You know, when you're not talking, that's when everything falls apart.
That's every division. You'll hear all the pro teams saying the same stuff. Like, okay, our strategy could be a little bit better. We missed a few things on this layout in this tournament, and we can always communicate better. Communication in paintball is like arguably the most important thing, right? Just being able to,
for sure,
no one individual on the field can really see everything on the field. So you have to rely on your teammates to share information so that you can kind of formulate the correct next move, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just when we were realizing how important that was. You know, you think you're talking to your homie, you don't even realize he got shot out 10 minutes ago, and you're just screaming at him, and then you look over and see him on the side of the field. You're all, what the hell? So that was
at least you have that awareness to look over to the sideline. A lot of players, they never, you know, that's a big one right there. Yeah, if you don't know if your teammates are there.
Me in the snake, so I'd get a little bit of a view of what was going on the side. But I think it was just because I don't know, I guess able to get there quicker off the break than some of the other dudes. Some of the other dudes are a little bigger, so they would just sit back and play home or whatever. But yeah, it was fun playing the snake, but I got my bell rung a couple times for sure. A couple headshots.
Yeah, it goes down over there for sure. And there is kind of a formula. We talk about efficiency and just being as efficient as we possibly can on the field with the information, because like Marcelo said, it is imperative to your success. Like whoever builds the picture in their mind quicker is going to have a better, you know, advantage in the game to make the right decisions. So it's like a juggling act where you have to, you know, we kind of broke it down into a formula of like, how many have we eliminated? How many do we have left? Where are they? How are we going to win? And then what's the score? What's the time? What's going on in the game? Because those kind of things will also help you make good decisions. But it's a juggling act out there for sure.
Totally. And it's crazy because there'd be a couple points where we really had it together and the communication was there. And it's almost like, it feels like cheating when everything's working, because you know where everyone's at, you know how many people are left. You can you can in real time like make a play where you sacrifice one guy to get the other guy. It's like everything, when it all works out, it feels like, man, that was kind of easy. But then when it's falling apart, it's just a wreck out there. Yeah.
It reminds me of golf, actually. It's like like your golf swing will be dialed. You're like, oh man, I'm so good at golf. I'm the best golfer in the world. I should play tournaments and win millions of dollars. Dude. And then
I'm the range champion.
You go out, you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, people would always say that too. They're like, yeah, you never want to be the champs of the practice field. That's like, because then you're not learning anything. And definitely we were like, we were just having fun. So it was, it felt fun and different vibe. And then the tournament felt a little more like the energy just shifted. But I'm the same way. I'm on the range. I'm just dropping the ball right where I want it every time I get to the field. And it's just my ball's everywhere. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I was killing it on the range.
That's sports, man. That is sports.
Dude, it's
You
all
have
mental.
that one good hole.
Yeah.
You have that one good hole on the course, and you're like, I'm hooked. I'm
Oh,
absolutely hooked.
dude. Yeah, it's insane. That game is crazy. That game will keep you
Oh.
coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tough one, and maybe you can speak on this a little bit. But I imagine skateboarding, paintball, extreme sports. It's really easy to get into the flow state because you kind of have to be. So as soon as whether it's dropping on a half pipe or as soon as the point starts, your adrenaline kind of takes over, and it's
For
really
sure.
easy to stop thinking and just do. Golf, it's not like that. There's no defender. There's no, you're not reacting to anything or anyone. It's really about being calm and focused. And so it's a different type of game. It's a different type of sport. At least that's how I've broken it down with myself. I play a lot of basketball for fun, pickup games. And when you have a defender on you, like you're not really anticipating stuff. You're just reacting naturally, and in paintball, again, when the horn goes off and the game starts, you're just kind of reacting. At least it's, when you're playing at a high level, you're
For
reacting.
sure.
In skateboarding, I imagine you can't be thinking like as you're going down the half pipe, what you're going to do. You already have a plan of that. And then you're going through it and you just do it. Whereas golf, you got to step up there. You look at the ball and it's like, there's no adrenaline. It's so calm.
It's all mental.
It's all mental. It is all mental. And like, you're so present. You have to be so present. And if any thoughts creep into your mind of like, maybe I should hold the club this way, or you're toast, and it really kind of
Yep.
magnifies, because those things, it's the same in other sports as well. If you start letting those thoughts creep in while you're actually performing, that's
For
when you have
sure.
issues. But I feel like it's easier to not have those thoughts because of the adrenaline, because of like, again, just kind of being launched into flow state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have experienced it when you're in like maybe a high stakes situation in a tournament or like do or die kind of moment. But there's been times when I, filming a skate trick and it's something I've been trying forever. I'm super scared or whatever. And I'll fully just not even remember the moment of the trick. And I'm rolling away and it's like a full blackout moment. And you go back and you watch the footage and you're like, I do not
Dang.
even remember that. Like, that's just, I
Yes.
think same with you guys with paintball. It's like for me skating, I've been doing it so long that my body just knows what to do without my brain having to kind of tell it what to do. And I think that's what causes those like sort of blackout adrenaline moments. And
Yeah.
sometimes I've watched footage back and I'm like, dude, that is crazy. I literally don't remember like trying to do whatever happened in that moment. It just happened and worked out, but it's kind of crazy.
100%.
That's that adrenaline.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely it is. No, you are spot on there, Riley. Like there's been, usually I can recall a match pretty well, right?
Yep.
How it went, what happened, but there are definitely moments where things go exceptionally well. And I kind of immediately after the point, I'm like, wait, what exactly happened? Because you'll go into the pit and the coach will ask. And I have to think about it for a second because I don't remember exactly what I saw to make a certain move, or what happened. Like, and you give a response sometimes like, I don't know, it just felt like the right thing to do. And that's not a great response to a coach. They want a little more detail than that, but it makes sense because you've processed these scenarios, these things so many times over and over that your intuition is really just your brain making the most, precise and accurate decision in that moment without letting emotion and doubt and other stuff kind of creep in. So it's like,
that's where the experience trumps all when it comes to like, you can consume all the information you want, but unless you've put in the 10,000 hours out there doing what you do, that's like the only way I think you get to those moments where everything works so well, but it's like kind of like the what is the saying? It's like luck is when preparation meets opportunity, where you're ready and you know what to do, and so you just kind of execute it in that moment, and it feels almost weird because it just feels like it shouldn't have worked out the way it did, but it's like so much accumulation up to that point. I've actually been reading, I have this book right here. I don't know if you guys have ever read this book, but this one, Atomic Habits.
Nice.
Oh, I know the book. I haven't read it.
Yeah, it's a lot about those type of situations where like these 1% incremental changes in your day-to-day life lead to this extremely like monumental moment that can happen where you feel this huge sudden change where people kind of chase that feeling, but it's more about small tiny changes over time that lead to that. And it's a really interesting book. It actually helped me kind of think a lot differently about just the process of anything, like for me skating, for you guys paintball, I'm sure it'd be a little, you know, there's some things you can take away from it that are really helpful.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some
Absolutely.
nuggets in there. Uh, Atomic Habits, everybody check that out. Sounds awesome. And you're right, man. It's like if you every day are getting 1 or 2% better over the
Yep.
span of time, that is going to be a monumental shift in whatever the craft is that you're trying to attack or go after or become better at. And if everyone is doing that, that's a part of your camp, or, you know, I know you have your crews, everyone in your crew is doing that 1% every single day, you're going to see a big shift. And then it'll seem like something drastic happened, you know, at this one moment when everything kind of changes, but it was all that work that you were putting in over time.
Yeah,
Overnight
it's
success
like the
takes.
consistency.
Yeah.
I
There's
like
like
it.
an
It's
analogy in it that I liked a lot, where it's talking about super simple. It just says like it's like if you take off in a plane and the pilot accidentally turns the wheel, you know, 3 degrees to the left. This one little moment doesn't seem like a big thing, but if you don't correct what the issue was and you don't change it, you're going to end up in, you know, Florida versus New York over time. And that's kind of like a pretty
Yes.
simple way to put it that I like resonated with. I was like, dang, that is crazy. You know, you don't change these bad habits over time. They become this huge burden
Mm,
over the course of whatever it is, even if it's, you know, it could just be life stuff. Doesn't have to be anything sports
yeah.
related, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's heavy. And when you start to think of it like that, you're like, whoa, this is life-changing stuff that we're talking about. And it's so important not only for us, but everyone around us, our family, our friends, our teams, you
Yeah,
know, making sure that
totally.
we're doing the right things every single day to provide the right type of energy and atmosphere for growth and for prosperity and all those amazing things that we're looking for. I want to dive into extreme sports with you, Rye.
For sure.
You're the man when it comes to all things extreme sports. I'm super stoked to talk to you. You've recently gotten into running. Obviously, you skateboard professionally, BMX. You do dirt bikes and off road. You do motocross, snowboarding, mixed martial arts. Just found out you played golf. I mean, snowboarding. It said snowboarding. Is there any other sports that you do that I didn't?
paintball.
Paintball.
Yeah, paintball. Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I figure
That's
it's like,
insane.
why be good at one thing when you can just suck at all of them? No,
It's more fun that way.
yeah, I think, I don't know, just growing up in California, you're just so adjacent to all those things all the time. And for some reason, it felt a little different too growing up without, you know, hate to be that guy, but just without like the internet so present, it just seemed like
Hmm.
more natural to just go do all these things with my buddies. And I don't know,
Yeah.
it just felt a little more normal to me and my buddies just go dig some jumps for BMX, and like that was our day. Just like the whole day revolved around that or whatever it was, you know, go to the skate park all day. And I didn't really pick up the other stuff like golf or the martial arts stuff till later in life. So that's kind of been like a,
Mhm.
you know, midlife crisis hobby mode situation.
I
But
feel you,
yeah,
bro.
it's been, you know, just fun to be able to have time to do those things, because I put so much time into skating. I'm sure you guys know with paintball, where it's so much like your life just revolves around it for so long, that when you get a chance to kind of be more on the tail end of a career, you get this like breath of fresh
Mm,
air where you're like, well, I can go do these things
for
that
sure.
are just fun, you know, like it's just the point of it is just fun, not like
Yeah.
I don't need to be, you know, trying to become the best of this thing. Can just go out and have a good time, and it's okay if I suck at it, because it's just that's how it goes, you know.
That's
It
it.
it it is also, I found that, picking up a new hobby is really fun for me because you're starting the process all over again, and I recognize,
Exactly.
okay, I'm not gonna be the best golfer in the world, but I can apply what I've learned through getting really good at paintball to golf or basketball or snowboarding. And, you know, like, again, with golf, I love going to the range just to do drills and practice certain things
Yep.
and work on certain movements, you know? In basketball, I'll go to the gym and just shoot around for an hour just by myself and do different things to try to get certain feels. That part of like a new hobby being kind of fresh and going through that process all over again is really interesting and important to me. You know, do you feel the same with all the new hobbies that you pick up?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so exciting. You get that feeling again when you can find, for me, like when I found things that give me that feeling that skating does, that um it's like you can't really describe like that type of fun and joy, you know. And
Yeah.
I think I'm sure it's similar with you guys with paintball, where you reach this level, like for me with skating, where to get that feeling out of it at a certain point, I had to be doing these things that were so scary and so hard on the body, and like to fulfill that sort of satisfaction of what I
Yeah.
wanted out of skating, it was really hard to reach that. And so when I was able to find it with other things, it was like, wow, I can just, like you said, just go hit a golf ball at a range for an hour and I feel fine. And I got some joy out of it, which maybe it's not necessarily the
Totally.
equivalent of skating, but it's like you still get it a little bit out of, you know, something, which is
For sure.
huge for me. And I think a lot of people are just kind of don't like being embarrassed or being like sucking at something. And I've luckily growing up was just never like burdened with that kind of, I don't know, ego of wanting to just, no matter what, I have to be like good at something or better than someone at something. I was down
No.
to just learn and figure it
Yeah.
out. And I think that goes a long way with like having a bunch
For
of
sure.
hobbies, because then it's always fun, you know.
Absolutely. You got to have a little bit of an ego, I think, to be good
For
at
sure.
anything. You have to care a little
Yeah.
bit about deep down, you don't really want to suck. It's okay to suck right now, but if I'm never going to get any better, then, then I
think
don't think any of us like that.
my ego is the thing that tells me like, all right, that was hard, I want to figure that out, like I'm not going to
Yeah,
let that
totally.
defeat me, versus like I'm going to be better than someone. It's more like I got to be better than myself, the version of
Absolutely.
myself that I was just then. But yeah, I
Love that.
think that it's kind of one of those things where you find that joy in other aspects, and that keeps you chasing them. And I'm just feel super fortunate that I've been able to find those, because you see a lot of people that don't, and it life gets hard for them after that thing that they love so much kind of fades away, and you see kind of that like reality of the weight of the world coming down on someone after maybe a career's over, or they get this injury that
Yeah.
prevents them from doing it, and then they're just kind of sitting there like they never put any time in anything else, and they get this huge shock of reality afterwards. And I see it so much in skating. It's hard for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see it in almost every sport too. Like some, high-end athletes, they have a graceful end of their career and transition into, their second act and do a great job with that, and others don't. And it's, they can't find a way to replace that feeling. But what I've learned, I think, Tyler, you'll probably agree, is with PTG, I've learned that we can actually apply all the stuff we've learned from sport to business as well.
Totally.
If you're building a business, you could apply it to a relationship, to building a family. Like, the ability to work on all the little details that make you good at something, you can transfer to just about anything you do. And that's a really important lesson that paintball taught me. And I'm sure that's, most athletes, if they can understand how to process that lesson and apply it to other stuff, they're going to be really good at just about anything they do.
Yeah, I'm like a firm believer. I think that once you've reached the level of a certain thing that, you got to professionally or whatever it is, I feel like those people really transition well into other roles, because they see like the path that it takes to get there. They understand that these things don't happen overnight. They understand that, it is hard and it's going to take work, but you almost like understand those hurdles you have to get over easier because you've done it with something else. You just committed so much time to something that you get what it takes to become good at something else. Maybe not great like you were with one thing, but good enough to where you're like happy with where you got with something else,
Yeah. And to be top tier in anything, you gotta, we say, like, embrace the schlep, like
Yep.
lean into the BS, lean into the
For
tough
sure.
times. And if you can lean into it and drive through it and grow through it, then you can have a lot of success. But you gotta, like you were saying earlier, Riley, you gotta be mentally tough and ready for that journey and everything that comes along with it, because it's not easy. It's not fun. It's not going to be a joyride. There's probably going to be some tumultuous times, but if you can really press through those times, it builds you, it builds your character, and then you can do whatever you want with that.
Yeah, there's times where I've, been working on skate video parts, whatever it is, and I'm just straight up it's not even fun. I'm not having a good time. Like, I'm sure it's the same with you guys during, a tournament season. Like, there's times where I'm like, man, I'm just like, this is not where I'm going to get my fun fix right now. Like, this is like something else for me. I got to go like do something else to have fun. Because right now, the thing that I grew up doing and loving and having fun doing is become something else that is in this moment not necessarily giving me the fun aspect, but it's like the necessary part of, like you said, becoming the best version of yourself at it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. Okay. So you have been skateboarding for quite some time. I think you started skateboarding when you were 2. Is that right?
Yeah, almost 30 years now. This next birthday in December will be 30 years, which is pretty insane.
Well, it makes sense growing up in the Hawk household. Your father is
For
Tony
sure.
Hawk, so I could
Yeah,
see how he would have you on a board pretty early.
absolutely. And it's something that is pretty accessible for anyone. That's kind of the cool thing about skating is it's just all you need is the board. You don't need anyone else. You don't need any place, anything, I mean, I guess technically you need like some cement, but that's literally all you need. So that's kind
That's
of
it.
the cool aspect of it. I think that's why it's so popular nowadays, because it's just such a relatively cheap sport for what considering some of the other sports go for.
Well,
Oh,
agreed. Yeah.
absolutely.
Even
Yeah.
like paintball, you got to get the marker,
Yeah.
you got to get the paint. It's kind of like I would put it right there, like you said, with motocross or even snowboarding. You got to buy the gear, you got to get the lift ticket. There's a little bit of an entry to get onto the field. Skateboarding, you just get your board and what I love about skating in general is it's an art form, really. Like the world is your canvas. Go out there and get creative.
Yep.
Go find some amazing spots, go on the adventure, get outside and go touch some grass, go roll around, go find crazy spots and live life. That's one of the coolest things about skating is it is a great way for the youth to get outside. We are seeing, a lot of people staying indoors. There's a lot of things that you can do indoors, and paintball, skating, these extreme sports are so important for humanity, I think, because we've got to get out into the sunlight. We've got to get out and, move around and get active and make sure that is always a staple as we move into the future, which is going to be completely technology based, as we keep going forward. Elon just released the robots. You all know what's happening.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird, like kind of wanting to live in this like analog lifestyle in this day and age. Like me and you guys and these people that you just do these things that are just so like physically demanding, as from a standpoint of like, it's just nothing. I don't think any form of technology can take away what we like to do. And so who knows, maybe it does die out at some point, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know, it seems to me almost like more people are getting interested in becoming physical and wanting this other feeling other than just, looking at the phone or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And you just start meeting cool people when you start doing these things. And I feel like the community that you become a part of when you do something challenging with each other and something that is fun and hard is like, that's how like all my homies, are like my brothers, or the dudes that my jiu-jitsu gym I go to are like now like my brothers, because you just do this thing that's so challenging together. The bond that you get is pretty cool. I'm sure paintball has got to be the same.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
Oh, for sure. If you're going through an airport and you see somebody with a paintball backpack and you immediately like, oh, hey, what's up? Like you're going to the tournament too. Awesome. Like we get it. We do the same thing. And that's paintball. We've always drawn a lot of parallels with paintball and skateboarding. Actually, skateboarding is, probably 15, 20 years ahead of paintball, but these extreme sports that were really niche growing up. And, when I used to tell my friends in middle school that I played paintball and was obsessed with paintball, they laughed at me. Like, what? That's so silly. I'd wear paintball gear to school, not gear, but, brands to school, and have stickers that I would like put up places. And it was the culture. Like, I was just so in love with everything about the game, and the culture was a huge part of that. It was the community, like you spoke about. The community is so important, and for some reason, just so accepting. Like, we all do this thing together, and I do believe you're correct that that's with a lot of these challenging sports, and part of that is you understand how difficult it is, so you can appreciate when someone else is also going through those challenges and willing to try to go over those hurdles and cross that finish line.
Yeah, there's like a baseline level of respect you instantly have for someone if
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, okay, this guy, this guy's played some whatever, some pro paintball. You're like, you know what it took for that guy to get there, so you understand like that
Yeah.
he's put the time in, and you have that like kind of instant more respect for someone, which is the
Hmm.
same way I feel the same. And, I see nowadays, I guess, like you see a lot of people wearing skate stuff. It's kind of like it's like fashion at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
other stuff like you see jujitsu stuff, or even like I'll even see paintball stuff, like dude rocking
Yeah.
like a HK bag or dye stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That dude's going somewhere to paintball or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's
amazing.
Yeah, that's funny. Have you heard of the brand Hormesis? Are you familiar with
Yeah,
them?
I
Yeah.
have
So
a not a headband, but I have like I think it's like the yin yang pants I bought on eBay because I just wanted something hormesis. But because
yeah,
growing up, I always had like Dynasty, like a Dynasty VHS maybe, and it was
there we
like
go. Dynasty
so
Dissected.
all those guys, yeah, like maybe it was, but yeah, so it was like those guys. So kind of when I got back into it, I found all those brands and stuff, which was cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's the dream. We want more paintball brands out there in the wild like that, and hopefully we'll see a
Yeah,
bunch more, and it'll become fashion like what you're talking about with skateboarding, where you just see
yep,
fashionable paintball clothes.
Yeah, and that was what I was getting to. Is that's kind of like the mission statement of Hormesis with Oliver. He's like, because he was a big skateboarder growing up, and he's like,
hmm
skateboarding became a fashion. It became a cool thing to do, and you would see people wearing skateboard clothes that don't even skateboard. They just they
yeah,
like the clothing, they like the culture. And so they, spawned Hormesis, and they're like, we want this to kind of be the same thing. We want when people see Hormesis stuff, they want them to know that that's a paintball brand. And HK is very
yeah,
similar too, very, heavily involved in the culture side of things.
Absolutely.
I think that's an important aspect too. You want people to buy into the lifestyle, which, again, skateboarding, I think a lot of people bought into the lifestyle of it, the
yeah,
skateboarding itself, of course, but the lifestyle, the culture. Paintball has a very unique, amazing culture and a really great lifestyle. So I
yeah,
believe we need to do a better job of kind of telling those stories and sharing that as kind of part of the mission of,
for
starting
sure.
this show. But
I
yeah,
think
Mhm.
the hormesis stuff is cool. I think it's like it seems like they've just crushed it in the paintball market as far as like they're almost like a supreme vibe of
yeah,
paintball. But Oliver seems like a cool dude. He seems like he's thinks broader, and that kind of like is necessary. I feel like when you want to connect with the culture, like you said.
oh yeah, for sure,
Absolutely. And it's
one
in
of a
our
kind.
DNA. I mean, the Godfather,
Yeah,
the guy paved the
I
way.
think I listened to his on your guys' show, and I'm like, well, damn, Oliver's out there in a good way, which is cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he's
And
out there in the best way for sure.
yes,
Yeah,
he's been a guiding light for both of us, Marcelo and myself, for our whole careers essentially. And thankfully, we've been able to like kind of apprentice with him and study with him in the same way that you would study with a master in any other craft. And he is
for sure.
he's on the moon. Ollie's on the moon, baby. Let's go. So it is part of our DNA as well to be a part of like a tribe, like
Yeah,
skateboarding is a tribe, paintball is a tribe, snowboarding is a tribe. All these extreme sports are a tribe, and I urge anyone who's a part of another, the skateboard tribe or the mixed martial arts tribe to try the paintball tribe. Anybody that's a fan of Riley and tuned in, because you're going to find that it is one of the greatest communities in the world. People really do go above and beyond for each other in paintball, and it's an amazing thing that we're able to be voices through skateboarding, through paintball, to get people to come outside, hang out, and be a part of the culture of whatever is the sport that they choose. Because I think it's very, very important to have these tribes, all these amazing tribes, because they bring us all together and they allow us to become, like you were saying, like bigger, better versions of ourselves, learn about yourself. And you can take all those things from your sport and your craft and apply them into your everyday life, business, family. And it makes our communities more well-rounded, I think, being able to have everyone have these amazing different tribes that they can be a part of. So anybody who's listening, give paintball a try, because I think you'll love it. And Riley, we're stoked that you are a part of the paintball tribe as well, man.
yeah. No, I think anyone that just has, like you said, that itch for that kind of extreme sports adrenaline, like even like team sport aspect is kind of cool because some people didn't mesh with like ball sports type stuff, but paintball is kind of the perfect hybrid of like extreme sport meets team sport. And that's kind of why it was fun for us. It was, we weren't going to get together and go play baseball, but we were going to get together and go play paintball because it just felt more our kind of speed and more our vibe. So yeah, man, I definitely need to get back out there, but it's just one of those things, it's time consuming for sure. That's one aspect, but man, is it fun. It's like, if I had the time, I would definitely be out there at least once a week because it's just so damn fun.
It is. Well, I guarantee you and Ronan are going to be playing at some point in the future because,
for sure.
That's how I started with my dad. And I know that's how March got into it. And it's just a great way to get outdoors and have some fun with your kid. And, I'm looking forward. I got Theo, he's 9 years old. So I've been saving up gear and I have like multiple paintball guns that I've been saving and all these sets of gear so that if he wants to start like a 3-man team, I'm ready to go. I got all this stuff.
Nice. That's sick. What kind of guns do you guys use?
So March is running the field ones, and then I'm shooting the DLX Idol.
Oh, okay. Right on. I have the TM40. I like that thing a lot.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
They shoot good.
Yeah, that thing's sick. Yeah, it's super sick.
Yeah. And it's no matter what, if you spend top dollar on a marker, they're going to shoot really well. And there's so many companies out there that are staying innovative. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Paintball is, obviously an extreme sport, but it's very unique in the regard that it's also a technology sport. So as technology progresses, our sport is also going to progress with it. And we could see paintball become something we could have never imagined in the future because it is a technology-based sport. It kind of plays into the future and where we're heading with all these technology booms, and we could have like a neon future type style game in 10 years. It could be something that we couldn't even imagine.
Full Tron just on like a grid.
I was just gonna say Tron ball.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I was just talking about this with a friend where it's when you're kind of like entry level to mid level to like kind of get into high level, the gear is like so important to you mentally and everything, and then you reach this point where, like, I'm sure you guys could just grab a rental gun and still go ball with like the best of them. It's kind of like I genuinely don't even know what kind of bearings I have in my board right now. Like, I've had them in there for so long. Like, I have 4 bolts holding my trucks on, like 2 on each side because they keep breaking. And it's just, you reach this point where it's just the product doesn't really matter anymore. It's just you know what to do with it. But when you're like, it's like golf. When you're entry level golf, it's like you have to have the clubs that help you. Otherwise, like, it's so equipment based, But at a certain point, you just reach that point where you watch Tiger could probably pick up any club and just hit it exactly the same perfectly. But it's funny how when you're like, it's so important to you when you're like kind of entry level to mid level, like the gear is like, if you don't have the good gear, you're gonna no way you can compete like mentally. That's how you feel.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, your mind is just, you can't think properly. Yeah. And it is, and it's all mentality.
If your homie gets the better gun, then you instantly have to go get the gun that he has because
got to keep up.
Like, yeah, exactly. That's like, we have one friend who, like, this dude has a different set of clubs every time we play, and we're just like, this motherfucker, like, how many clubs do you need, dude? Like, we're all hitting in the 90s. Like, none of us are. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
That's funny, man.
New wedge every time. Yeah, I got this new 52.
So
yeah, that's
funny.
Great. That's really funny. Yeah, and paintball, well, I think all of it plays into the mental aspect we were talking about too, right? Like, if you're new at something, I think if you get the good equipment, it just makes you feel better about it. So then mentally you're just a little more confident, and that's probably what's giving you the better success, not the better equipment,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the look good, feel good, play good, whatever it is.
100%. Yeah, that's it.
Riley, when did you go? Sorry, go ahead, March.
Yeah. I saw you did a video. I know you mentioned in Southern California, we're kind of adjacent to everything. You got snowboarding right there. You got the beach right there. I saw you did a video where you did like, it was jujitsu, and then you were skateboarding. You kind of did this like multi-sport thing. Not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but you know who Ryan Greenspan is?
Yeah, I do.
He did a pretty cool video. And I don't know, maybe this is something you could do on a skateboarding level. He drove up to Big Bear in the morning, did a few runs snowboarding, then came down, went to ASG. It was like he named it like the perfect day or something. went to ASG, played some paintball, and then went and surfed down in San Diego for sunset. It was a really sick thing to see that you could
That's
do
so
that
rad.
in Southern California. Just like go up to the
Yep.
mountains, snow, gorgeous. I think it was like sometime in December. So obviously in San
Yep.
Diego, that's like the best time of the year, in my opinion. It's, 65,
Yeah.
sunny, gorgeous. But it was just really cool to see like all that you can do in one day here. Sure, you could do something
Yeah,
similar
I've
with.
seen a couple of people that have done something like that where they like snowboard, skate, and surf all in the same day, and it's just
Yeah.
I mean, that says
That's
it all
tight.
right there as to like what kind of kids California breeds when you can do all that in one day. It's what else do you want as a teenage kid growing up?
Seriously.
sure.
Yeah, yours could
Like
be
outdoors.
even incorporate the music because you, for anybody out there that doesn't know, you're also a guitarist and you play. Are you still playing with
I
Warish?
didn't know that.
We haven't played in a while. We did like a tour that was kind of during the end of COVID, and it was just such a nightmare that it kind of
Yeah.
left like a little bit of a bad taste in all of our mouths with just trying to make that thing happen. And it was more that kind of we just had the band as like a thing that was fun for the homies around here, and then it just turned into like we got some offers for some bigger shows and then some tours, and it just wasn't necessarily what we were planning it to be, and so it
Yeah.
just felt a little like overwhelming in a sense, or just not exactly what we wanted out of it. It was more just to have fun with our buddies. But yeah, I mean, that was really cool to get to do that with some cool bands and go on some cool tours and stuff. And that part was the band part was a little hard just because I'm sure you guys know with paintball, and when you travel, and it's similar with skating where you travel for stuff like paintball and skating, you get to really be like kind of immersed in the culture. You're out in the daytime, you're meeting people, you're doing all these things that are kind of more, I don't know, I guess like in a healthier lifestyle, I guess you could say. And for me, the band stuff was hard because we were just in a van all day driving. You just go right into a dark kind of bar, you're loading gear, and then you just sit in a bar for like 8 hours, and then that's what you're seeing of the town you're in. And that was just not like my vibe of how I wanted to travel, kind of.
No, that's understandable for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, what would you describe the music as? Kind of rock punk type style, is that
I guess
right?
like punk rock, just like bands, classic guitar, bass, and drums, and
Yeah.
just kind of like punk rock, I guess.
That's fun, man. That's fun that
Yeah,
you're
that's
able
super
to
cool.
experience that.
Sure.
Not a lot
It
of
was cool.
people.
It was
Yeah.
definitely rad. We got to tour with like some bands like the Black Lips and this band called Acid King that I like a lot, and
Yeah.
it was cool to like get to just be around people that are, you've listened to their band growing up, and you're like, well, this is a trip. I'm like on tour. I'm
Rocking
sure
with them.
it's the same thing with skating. You grow up and you get on the teams of people you look up to, or paintball, you playing a point with the dudes that you grew up watching. It feels surreal kind of when it's happening. You're like, this is bizarre.
Sure. Yeah, for the YouTube, he's got a bunch of vinyls in the back. We got some boards,
Oh, yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
What's one of your favorite vinyls you have back there?
Oh man, I don't know. I have a lot.
You got a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
Moving them is a
smokes.
pain in
that's
the
dope.
ass.
I'll bet.
I've learned that moving records is not easy.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I started collecting them probably when I was like maybe 14 or 15, and then through time it's always been a cool little, like, when I'm traveling, look up a cool record shop, kill some time, go get a record or two somewhere, and over
Yeah.
time that just accumulated into this. But I have a few that are definitely, like I caught kind of at an earlier stage than when the internet boom with vinyl sort of happened. So there's some cool, like, kind of 70s rare rock stuff that I have that is worth quite a bit now. I mean, there's a couple, I think, that are, a couple $1,000s, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
That's kind of
awesome.
where they're at. But that's what happens with the stuff that gets discontinued. And like, I remember when I got back into paintball, I would be like, oh man, I want to look up the Angel, because that was like when you were a kid, that was like, if you had the Angel, you were like the shit. And I was like, man, that's crazy. People are still selling these things. It's like a collector's item now. It's cool.
Nostalgia
Yeah,
sells.
they're
full
massive.
nostalgia.
They're massive too now compared to
Dude,
the other
so
goods.
bulky.
Like,
I couldn't believe it. When I saw a picture of it, I was like, what the hell? I thought that thing was like the sleekest. Like, it looked so different in my head back then.
Yeah, actually, Quinn from Iconic Paintball just helped me hunt down my old ice blue angel that I had when I was just a kid, and I'm so excited
No
to
way.
finally like get that back. I know you like
No.
collecting things as well, and like now that I've gotten older, I have a major appreciation for the old stuff from back in the day in paintball.
Yeah.
So somehow he acquires these paintball markers, and like I don't know, kind of, you know, he's like a collector as well. And
Yep.
he found this old angel that I shot when I was just a youngster, and I'm stoked to see that one again. So Quinn, if
That's
you're listening,
crazy.
thank you.
It is crazy. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
dope of them.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I was never big into collecting stuff. It just wasn't, you know, something I was interested in. But certainly the last couple years, I like, again, old outdated stuff or stuff that's been
Mhm.
discontinued, or even stuff that I get now that I'm like, one day this might, I'm super interested and fascinated by it. You know, I
Yeah.
don't know why. I
Yep.
don't know why I suddenly found that
For
you know,
sure.
itch, but
We're getting older.
I guess
Yeah, it's definitely the bank account does not like the collecting hobby,
No. Yeah.
but it's cool. I mean, with vinyl, it's kind of like a different thing, I guess, where some of these records I have, you can't really even find,
Mm-mm.
you know, the full album online anywhere. You know, you definitely
Wow.
can't buy it digitally, but maybe YouTube has some of them that are like the rare ones. Most of them they are on YouTube at least, but I mean, hey, if the internet, you know, evaporated tomorrow, I still have like a lot of music that I really love to listen to, which
Yeah.
is cool. And one
That's
day
right.
I'll pass them down to my kid, and he'll probably end up just selling them when I'm older and dying, and it'll be all for nothing. But
That's hilarious, bro. Hey,
Yeah.
how has like skateboarding influenced your music, or vice versa? Has music influenced your skateboarding? Because they really do go hand in hand, especially, you know, your dad growing up at the time that he did in skateboarding. Music was a huge part of making the
Mhm.
videos amazing. Even the video game, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, had some of the most iconic music of all
For
time.
sure.
I still remember those songs from playing the video game, you know? So how have those two merged and influenced each other?
I think, you know, because I was so like already immersed in skating at such a young age, seeing a lot of the skate videos when I was young. You know, I would watch some videos when I was 9, 10, 11 years old, and they have super good soundtracks, and so you're just instantly like
Yeah.
kind of plugged into that world of music, and which is kind of cool at such a young age, where you're getting to listen to these bands like Motorhead and,
Yeah.
you know, the Stooges and all this like kind of more 60s, 70s, 80s hard rock, metal, whatever it is. And skating always kind of just had a really good finger on the pulse with good music for skate videos, especially back then. So I was just fortunate enough to be involved in that scene at such a young age, to where stuff I wanted to watch had really good music. So that kind of naturally made me want to sort of explore that type of music more. And
Hmm.
that was just sort of the avenue that got me there at a younger age, I guess, than maybe some others, just because
Mhm.
that was what I grew up watching, was just skate videos.
Same. I would be outside on the ramp with my CD player, you know, CDs,
Yeah.
people, you know. And, and I had Green Day Dookie just turned
Oh
up,
yeah.
just on the ramp, listening to Green Day and a myriad of other, you know, artists and stuff. But it really
Man.
does go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're like, I feel like if you were born in 80s and 90s, if you didn't have someone who had a half pipe, it was like, what the hell
Yeah.
are you doing? Like the half pipe was just like the staple of that era.
It
Dude,
was absolutely.
we had moms dropping their kids off in minivans at our house at like 8 a.m. And at a certain point, my mom's like, "This is ridiculous. People need to
For
sign
daycare.
waivers." Yeah. We would have, on the weekends, we would have like 30 or 40 people out front of our
Oh my
house, like
God.
with these major sessions, and we had rails everywhere. At a certain point, someone in the neighborhood just was fed up and like told the city, and they shut us down. But it was, for a couple of years we were going at it. And you're right, it was a part of the culture of, you know, the
Yeah.
90s skate culture. And it's amazing to see what it has become, because it's such an inspiration to us as paintball players. We feel like it goes hand in hand with our extreme sport, and we only hope that someday, you know, I know we shoot paintball guns, I think we can get over that. All these kids are playing Call of Duty and all these games online. There's no problem with that. But for some reason, when you play paintball, there's like a problem. So hopefully we can get past all that and make this amazing game become something to where we're in the Olympics, you know, in 20 years or whatever it is, because it's cool to see skateboarding making these huge milestone jumps into these new sectors and really becoming a ultra wide respected sport. And it is an inspiration to all of us as paintball players as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird to see something like a sport that you are so involved with evolving in real time in front of your eyes, which is kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like for you guys, paintball, you guys started what, just shortly after it really began. Like skating has really only been around for not that long, you know. It's like I know dudes like Tony Alva, they started skateboarding, which is insane that you can like go you can go right back to the start of it right there, which is pretty nuts. And I think, yeah, it's just one of those things maybe you don't really realize how significant some changes are when you're in it, but then, you know, I'm sure you guys will look back in like 20 years and be like, damn, that we really did change the sport a lot, which is, you got to like have the hindsight vision from the future to be able to know, but it's kind of
time travel,
how it goes. Yeah, exactly.
And that's rare. Like both of our sports are rare in that regard. We can talk to the founding fathers of the sport. We can talk to the people who started this whole entire thing. Most other sports, you know, it's been hundreds of years, if not thousands, some of them that they've been around, and it's unique for paintball and skateboarding to have that opportunity to be laying the framework for the future of it.
Yeah, it's so new. It's crazy because everyone's still figuring it out, kind of.
Yeah.
Riley, where's the coolest place skateboarding has brought you?
The coolest place. I personally have always really liked going to Japan. Like Tokyo is super cool. I would imagine do they have paintball fields out there?
I don't think in Japan. Yeah,
Just they're so obsessed with like American culture. I feel like anything that we do, they like take it and they make, like, I would imagine they'd have like some ridiculous like indoor complex that's just like the nicest fields you've ever seen. You know, like everything they do there is like top notch no matter what.
Yeah, Tokyo is actually so high on my list. We do a lot of Southeast Asia. Paintball is pretty big in Southeast Asia, and you know, Thailand and Malaysia. So I've been there, but never been able to go. I had a layover in Tokyo. Had some of the best sushi I've ever had in the airport, which I'm like, that's crazy. But I've never been to Tokyo. I want to go really bad. This confirms it.
Awesome. I've been probably maybe like 10 times in my life, and it's always one of the coolest places. It's definitely a place where you can, for me at least, be there a little too long. I've spent some time there where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home now. But it's like, you know, for like a 5-day week-long trip, it's insane. It's just so cool, especially when you're someone who wants to travel and you like kind of being out of your comfort zone. That place is like the perfect recipe for that.
Totally. Yeah, we have great flights from San Diego direct, JAL airline to Tokyo. I think it's like 12 hours, something like that, 13 hours.
Yeah, that's where me and my wife got engaged, was in Tokyo actually, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of like a special place for us, which is rad. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and congrats, 1 year anniversary just happened for you guys. So congrats on that. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel very like we're adults. Me and my wife are talking about that. We'll catch ourselves in the mirror holding our kid and we're like, whoa.
It happened.
We're adults.
Yeah, and it's crazy. That's literally how it goes. Like one day you wake up and you're like, whoa, okay, I guess we're here now.
Life's different now.
Yeah. And for you especially, it's team no sleep. You know, having a newborn, you have to get into a whole new rhythm of life. It is a lot of work. I'm very thankful to have been able to go through that and come out the other side, you know, a little bit wiser, because the first couple of years are so much work having a new little one. Yeah.
I mean, like I watch him. We do like night shifts where I watch him till about 1 a.m. and then I sleep from 1 to 5 a.m. and then I get him back at 5. And so that was my night last night.
Bro, I empathize with you, my man. It is the full experience.
He's getting there though. He's starting to sleep for longer increments, which is definitely like makes it a lot easier. When those first few weeks when you're just like, you know, just Hawkeye hovering over them, just like any little movement, you're like, oh God, something's wrong. And then you start to realize, you're like, okay, he's a human. He's got to figure it out.
And you guys have an amazing team, a beautiful family, and it's one of the most amazing things. It brings so much love into your world, from everywhere. Love's just pouring in. Everyone's super excited to watch the little one grow up and have some fun. But right
Yeah, we have
now,
so many grandparents that it's like he doesn't even know how much attention he's already getting. And it's pretty cool. We get a lot of people that are down to babysit, so that makes it nice. We get to, once a week go get a little dinner together, which I think is super important.
it's extremely important, and it's something that as they get older, it's still, you're going to be like, I need some help, someone
Yeah,
give
for
us a little
sure.
bit of help here.
Yeah, you can't have too much pride when it comes to the kid, because that's how like you have a full meltdown, I feel like.
For sure. Yeah.
I just feel like it would be like less, and I'm, I don't have any kids, so I don't know, but I feel like it'd be less pride and more anxiety. I feel like if I did have it's not that I don't want someone else to help me. It's that I'm so worried. Like, what if they drop them? What if they take their eyes off of them? Like,
No, the first night me and my wife got like a night to ourselves. My mom watched him and we went and got dinner. It was for our anniversary for our wedding. And we thought we were going to feel that way, but we were both just so tired that just dropping him off, we were just like, oh my God, like we just didn't even talk. We just like sat at dinner and just like zoned out and just like, wow, this is crazy. Where you can just like, you're just on such high alert at other times when you're around the baby, but then it starts getting more normal. It's weird how normal it gets so fast.
Yeah, true. It happens quick. And for you, what was it like growing up with your dad as a pro skateboarder, like when you were just a kid? I'm sure that had to have been crazy. And also, were you at the X Games when he landed the 900?
I actually was not there. No.
Oh man.
I was at home. I think maybe it was because of school or something. I remember I was getting in trouble a lot at school because my dad would always take me everywhere, and they actually like had him like, I think like a truancy officer like came to our house and was like, if your kid doesn't be in school, like, there's going to be some consequences for him or whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
He would take me everywhere because that was just kind of how we rolled. Like, I think the first time I went to Japan I was like 3 with him.
What?
And it was literally just because him and my mom weren't together, and he had me, and he had to go on this trip and do these demos. And so I'm just,
he's like,
there,
come on,
like, being watched by some like Japanese rep at a skate shop, like while he does a demo, and I'm like 3 years old just running around, which is pretty funny. But yeah, it was stuff like that. It was just kind of made it seem normal because it was just happening from such a young age. But it was bizarre to see his actual kind of transition and like ascent into like full superstardom, because I was the only kid who was alive kind of before that whole, like, I remember him bringing home the like prototype for the video game where there was no like background graphics. It was just like the track you skate on, and he was like, we're making like a skateboard video game, and I was like playing it with him, and I was like, whoa, cool. And it was like seeing the actual kind of like trajectory of his career go like skyrocket was pretty crazy. And I think I was the only one old enough out of my siblings to understand the before and the after of like, because the video game is really what changed the whole like thing being
everyone
his
played
son.
that game. Yeah. If you were a 90s kid, that was, you played.
It's like a
pro skater,
cultural staple for sure.
Yeah.
So it was just, a little bizarre, but at the same time, he's one of the most like down to earth, humble guys I've ever met in all my years of meeting, very famous people. And he sometimes it makes me forget that he is like, his name is on a level of a Michael Jordan, of a Tiger Woods, because he's just so mellow, and like he really is one of the most humble people I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen him turn away an autograph, a picture, like even a 5-minute chat with people. And I mean, it's like everywhere you go is nonstop, which is, I personally would probably get to a point where I would either maybe not want to go places or just have to like turn down one at least, because it's just nonstop. It's literally no matter where you go, he's getting recognized.
Oh, absolutely. The Birdman. He's big time.
Actually,
it's crazy.
I've seen him out a few times in Del Mar, Carlsbad. I never bothered him or anything or said hi, but that's what everybody says about him, is you could just approach him. And you mentioned you would probably turn one down. Me too. Like, I think if our sport ever reached a level of fame, of like your dad or LeBron or I don't know that I'd want that. Like, you're going to have a bad day one day, you know, and you just don't feel
Yeah.
like entertaining one of it. And that's the story that blows up, you know, and
For
your dad
sure.
doesn't have any of those stories, which is actually really special, and says a lot about his character.
Yeah, I remember when I was getting older and kind of starting to come into my own sort of like notoriety, I guess, with skating. And he explained that to me. He just said, you know, he's like, you don't have to be like a fake nice person, but just remember, like, this moment this person is, you know, saying hi to you at a Starbucks might be like the craziest moment of this person's life if they've idolized you growing up. And just to give them like a couple minutes to chat, like, they're gonna remember that forever, and they'll always be like, man, that was like a really cool experience. And he's like, I'll tell you what, he's like, I've met tons of people and it was always really cool, but I've met a few celebrities that it wasn't cool, and I really remember those dudes. He's like, I always remember the dudes that were, you know, assholes and people that didn't give me the time of day. And he's like, that's just how it goes. And he, you know, made sure to instill that in me, where you don't have to be this like overly fake nice guy, but just be like a genuine person. You know, if someone comes up to you and is like genuinely stoked to just talk to you for a second, like, what's 30 seconds to a minute of your life to just talk and say what's up to him. I think the phone maybe kind of changed that a little. People don't want to just like interact with people in public as much, it seems. Maybe, I don't know, but I tried my best to, if someone comes up to me and wants to chat, you know, talk to him for a little. And obviously there's like a fine line of where the conversation maybe needs to end, because you got to actually go do stuff and it's someone that you don't even know that you're talking to. But just that genuine interaction, I think, goes a long way.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a master of the human connection, you know. Just
sure.
He's got one of the biggest hearts in the world, and really that's where it resonates from, is he loves life and he loves the culture that he's helped cultivate. And that is why he knows the power of each of those moments and how much weight they hold by taking that time to just be genuine, like you said, and open up the heart and have a little fun. You know, life's short. Embrace the all the random connections, like, and have fun.
Don't take yourself so seriously. You know, I think that gets you really far in life. There's a time and a place for seriousness, but I think genuinely, if you kind of go through life with sort of a playful, you know, fun mindset, like, things are just turn out better, genuinely, for me at least.
Well, us too. That's the motto of our whole culture, is play. You know, that is
for sure.
play the game. We have, you know, dreams of also expanding out into like, we want to have play the game skateboard, you know, play the game everything, and it's all about just getting out there and playing, have some fun, because like you said, if you take things too seriously, before you know it, it's all passed you by, and you got nothing, no good times to show for it. So enjoy yourself and try to smile, and like your dad, be an inspiration to others, make those connections, and just enjoy the time. You know, it's really what it's all about.
For sure. And I think, you know, you guys know there's a time and a place for when it's time to get serious, you know, like a really important tournament, whatever it is. But I think having the seriousness with that sprinkle of playfulness is when I've found, like, the fun for me mixed with the seriousness is when I have always performed my best. When the fun starts coming out, like, I instantly can tell that I'm not skating the way I want to. Things aren't working how they should be for me. And then I got to kind of like check myself and get back to a place where it's still fun.
Yeah.
Spot on, dude.
Yeah. And, you know, on a Sunday morning or whenever you have a competition, the look in our eyes is completely different than this Monday morning chat that we're having right now, you know, and you got to lock in when it's time to lock in. That's what it's all about. But that's the 1%, you know, and obviously we train our minds and our bodies to be ready for those moments, but also just, you know, don't take things so serious, and enjoy yourself. That's really one of the best mottos you can go with.
Yeah. You got to remember what got you into it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
100%. Riley, we have a Discord community with a bunch of the show supporters that heard you were coming on, and they have some questions for you. Do you mind if we ask some?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, Stick. I'm going straight to the good one right here. From Smokey. Riley, break out the guitar and give us a lick.
Hey,
it's not really a question. It's more of a demand. I don't
think, you know, what's funny is I have
it's okay.
this acoustic guitar right here that is says Monster Mash on it. My dad is like a pretty big collector of like movie props and stuff, and this was my 30th birthday. He got me that. It's like the guitar from Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny when he's doing the gig simulator, and he like knee slides and breaks it. It's like rubber. The guitar is actually rubber because it's like the prop one. But yeah, that was a gift. So that's kind of.
Can you bring it over?
I have in here. Yeah,
can we look at it?
I'll grab it. It's pretty
Yo,
funny.
this is crazy.
Sorry, Smokey, we're not getting any music.
Yeah,
but this is even better.
Tenacious D.
Big fan of Tenacious D, but yeah, so you can see it's like rubber.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
When he slides and breaks the guitar. This was the prop guitar, which is pretty funny.
That is so sick. Yeah, check out the YouTube if you're on the podcast platforms. He's got it up on the video. That's amazing.
Yeah,
and
pretty funny.
They have one of the best groups ever, man. Such a funny thing that they do. Tenacious D.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that movie was like one of those movies growing up as a kid. You just idolize that movie.
Yep. Jack Black is one of the funniest people ever.
Yeah, legend.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, let's see. Basically the worst. We got some funny Discord names in here. You know, that's their Discord name. Shout out to Basically the Worst. What made you take an interest into our beloved game of paintball?
I think, like I said, just growing up in Oceanside, like Camp Pendleton was just like the go-to. Like, oh, the homie's birthday is coming up. Like, we're going paintball, and that was like kind of the thing, I guess. And yeah, it was one of those things that you wish you could get more into as a kid, but just didn't have the time or the resources as far as like knowing where to go, what to do, to actually get into more of like the competitive side of it. And by that point, I think skating had kind of really took over my life. So it was just, that was like the focus. And then you get older and you realize you're like, oh man, I got some time. I could, get back into these things that as a kid were like so fun and so like kind of out of reach a little bit, and now they're like more feasible to go do. And so paintball was definitely one of those things that I got hooked back on because it was just so nostalgic. I mean, going into a shop and just looking at all the markers, I was like, damn, like I get to actually get like a rad marker right now and set up like a little setup, which was cool. And it was just fun. I mean, because I always was athletic growing up, so it kind of, that definitely lends a big hand into paintball, especially if you're trying to play speedball and stuff. So it was one of the perfect like combinations of athletic meets kind of like a fun hobby sport.
Yeah, and you get to like build your own. It's kind of like building a board. You build your setup with your paintball marker, get all the cool stuff. Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I played Greg Hastings growing up and stuff. So like it was pretty integrated into my life, but I feel like I don't know, back then I didn't really get to do it as much as I would like to. And I think that was something back in the day, it seemed different than nowadays, where you had like, I had that one Dynasty VHS and I would just watch it over and over. And that was just like all I had. And that's like kind of, back then it was different. You just like you had to like imagine stuff a lot more back then, kind of.
Yeah. Or go to the field. You'd have to get out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we got Jimmy Hickey. He's actually the owner of one of the pro teams, Seattle Uprising. He goes, "Hey, Riley, thank you for bridging the gap between skateboarding and paintball. Your involvement brings visibility and excitement to our sport, and we truly appreciate it. You will always have a welcoming community here, and we hope to see you enjoy more and more good times with paintball." Now to the question. You've been involved in numerous skateboarding parts and film projects. While many skaters cross over into paintball, some in our community might not fully appreciate the depth of skate film choreography. Which skateboarding film do you recommend everyone to watch? And what is your favorite project or part that you've been involved with?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what you're looking to get out of it. Cause I mean, I would say a video maybe that's a little older and maybe to some might seem outdated, but like that's like the nostalgic part of me wanting to watch these videos that I grew up watching.
Yes,
but I don't know. I mean, I feel like Baker 3 is like, that's like the staple skate video that got a lot of people into skating. Like Baker 3 is kind of really captures the essence of like what being a skater was, especially at that time. It's just like this group of homies that started a company and like they're not taking it super serious, but the skating is like next level, like some of the best skating you've ever seen. And that's kind of like what we were talking about. They perfectly mend that like fun but serious as aspect where it just transitioned really well into a video form. And I would say probably Baker 3 is like, I think would resonate, especially with people maybe who play paintball, because it's just, I don't know, it's just hijinks. There's a lot of hijinks in it. It's just funny, and the skating's really good and music's good. So yeah, probably that. And then
Nice.
for myself, I don't really know. I mean, me and my homies growing up would make these videos, like kind of like crew videos, and we made like 5 of them. And I think just filming those was probably the funnest for me, because it was like I was just with my buddies, just skating all the time. Like that was just our life, you know, hopping in a car every day with your homies at 16, 17, and you just skate all day. And that's all you want to do. And definitely thinking back on those times, that's like, when you look back, you're like, damn, those were the times. That's like, they don't, you know, it's so cliche. Like you're not going to know it's like the best times of your life when it's happening. But when you look back, you're like, man, that was it. That was like all you could ever want as a skate kid. So prior to those videos, they're called the Shep Dogs videos. It's like our crew of homies from around here. So yeah, there's 5 of them, and pretty crazy because most of the dudes in those videos went on to become really well-known pro skaters. So it was like we had a pretty special little crew here in San Diego, which was kind of a rad thing to see it blossom into like these household skateboard names.
Wow. And then how do you spell that for everybody listening that can check that out?
It's SHEP and then DAWG.
All right. Check it out. Enjoy those. All right. We got Jay Lamb. He says, Riley, what are the chances of you possibly coming to an NXL event at some point and watching some pro paintball?
Yeah, that would be sick. I mean, I'll throw the streams on once in a while if I'm like in my office in here just doing stuff. Like I feel like the streams are always cool to tap into for a little bit, you know. And if there's like a big tournament I see that's coming up and I happen to be in here and it's cool that it's on YouTube. I love that they do that, because it makes it so easy to like, it's so easy now to just follow the things you want to watch. So I can just throw on the stream, just, you know, watch it for a little bit. But yeah, that'd be cool. The one in Florida looks really cool. That seems like it's fun to go to. Yeah,
it's the best one.
I gotta me and my buddies always say like we gotta put our shred tokens in the piggy bank for our wife so I can deposit. I gotta save up some tokens for something like that. But it would be really cool, you know. And that stuff I think isn't going anywhere. So maybe once the little dude's a little more self-sustaining, he can be with the wife, and I could pop out for a day or two for something like that. But it'd be really cool. It'd be cool to watch that level in person.
Absolutely. If you ever want to, just know that you have the golden ticket to come to the event and VIP access, the whole deal. Make sure we take care of you and the whole family. Like if anybody, you, your dad, your wife, the kids, everybody, if you guys all want to come, you have VIP access at any event you come to.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, brother.
Riley, my last question from the Discord. Did you have something else on that one there, Ty? My bad.
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay. My last question from the Discord is from Verb. Riley, favorite food and favorite place to eat it? This is a question we ask all of our guests. It's a staple on the show. It could be home cooked meals, or it could be a restaurant. It could be anything, but favorite food and favorite place to eat it.
Probably have to go back to just sushi in Tokyo. I mean, that is just like, I'm a big sushi guy. So when you go to Tokyo, it's like you said, you go to the airport and it's better than 90% of the 90% of the sushi restaurants. It's pretty insane. And I'm a big fan of, like, my dad always would make me be a pretty adventurous eater by, you know, just almost by necessity, traveling with me when I'm 3 and we're in Japan. Like, good luck trying to find food for a 3-year-old in Japan at that time. But yeah, so he would always kind of have me eating crazy stuff. And so I love doing like the omakase when you go to sushi, just let the chef make whatever they want for you, because I'll kind of eat whatever. Even if it's something I don't necessarily like after the fact, like I'll try anything. I don't really care.
Yeah, you have to. You got to at least try it. It's okay to not like it, but you got to try it.
Yeah, I have some friends, like, they can't even look at sushi. I'm like, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Oh man, sushi's so good. I can only imagine. Maybe PTG will do a Japan trip. We'll see.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be
crazy.
All
right, we got CM Harry. What do you feel holds paintball back from being more mainstream? Do you feel if skateboarding and paintball had an event together, that would maybe help out both sports or be a cool, combo deal there.
Yeah, I think I mean, like I said, it kind of takes me back to those castle contest days when they would have, tournaments going on at Hollywood Sports Park and a skate contest at the same time. That was like, I feel like that was definitely a vibe like back then in the early 2000s. But I don't know. I guess, like you said, just that entry barrier can be a little more intimidating to people than maybe a skate necessarily. But I think it seems like, to me, every sport now is thriving more than ever just because of Instagram and social media. And I think that people can get hooked into something a lot easier nowadays. Just maybe see like an Instagram reel that is like cool, like, a dude looking cool on the field or whatever. And I personally love like all the gear and stuff. So that's like another aspect that gets me psyched, like seeing someone that just looks cool. I think that's the skate side of me. Like, doesn't even have to necessarily be like a pro player, but this dude just looks like, he's got the lit kit on and he looks good out there. You're like, damn, I want to look like that. Like, I don't even care if I suck. So I don't know, something like that, maybe, like just people maybe looking into it a little more on Instagram and kind of understanding the vibe of it, maybe like getting the culture a little more. And I mean, a cross event like that could be cool for sure. I think anything where it's just a lot of sports meshed together is always good for the other sports.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. It'd be an honor to be alongside all the legends on the boards, and it kind of goes hand in hand. I think the cultures are pretty similar, and we're still very early on with paintball. And even like our formats, we're still working on our formats, working on a lot of different things. It's like I assimilate it to like baseball in the early days where they're like, all right, I think first base goes like about here, the pitcher's mound is like about this far. We're still getting all the details dialed in for our sport.
Funny, there's like a saying in skating that I've heard before where there's no rules, but don't break them. That's like a funny saying I hear in skating a lot, because it is true. Like, oh yeah, it's whatever, you get to make it your thing, but then like as soon as you do something goofy, it's like, don't do that. It's like there's kind of this weird unspoken thing. But I think skating too had like a bit of a benefit because it reached this kind of peak of like performance based products, where the skateboard's essentially been the same for over 20 plus years, and no one wants it to change. It's exactly how it needs to be. And I think they got kind of lucky in that sense where they were able to create this product that is like, that's, people are doing the tricks on the board now that they were doing it in the 90s, and with small changes, but they're not trying to they don't want it to evolve anymore. It's like kind of reached this point where it's like perfect. So that, I think that helps.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Riley, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with us. It was really nice chatting with you. It's awesome that you're involved in paintball and actually all the other amazing extreme sports that you do. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man, I definitely need to get out to an NXL event at some point. That'd be cool. Maybe get a crew of homies and we'll come out and watch. That'd be rad.
Yeah, we
just
got
let us know, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then if there's any type of plugs that you want to make, or any, send out shout outs, now's a time for you to drop some shout outs if you want.
No, I mean, shout out you guys for just having me on. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Of course, bro. Well, the honor is truly all ours. We can't thank you enough. And congratulations once again on little baby Ronan. So exciting that you're,
thanks, man.
A new father, and good luck with everything with you and the fam. And we'll chat with you soon.
Thanks, man. Yeah, my wife's probably like, okay, when is it going to be done in there? It's time.
I know we had a little shorter time, but dude, there was just so much wisdom being dropped from you in this one. I was like, we gotta extend. Man. We gotta extend.
No worries. Yeah. I had a nice little 2-hour window that I was allotted, so awesome. We're good.
Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it.
You're the man, Riley.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, bro.
Have a good day. Peace. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link in the corner, and support the show. We greatly appreciate it. We have tiers as low as $1.99 a month. That is nothing, guys, and it'll give you access to the Discord, where you get access to the players chat and get to mingle with the entire PTG community. We have tons of different pros in there. Tyler and myself are very active, and it's an amazing way to support the show. We also have amazing other tiers. If you want to be one of the best, want to be a GOAT, sign up for the GOAT tier. It's the greatest way to support us. And each month we do a private live stream show, one-on-one kind of thing, to where it's just the GOATs, and Tyler and myself will bring in some special guests every now and then, but you get to ask us questions in real time, live on the air, and you get lots of inside juicy news that we don't share on the show. So, as always, we will see you guys very soon.